Right now, somewhere in your body, a warning system is going off. Your heart rate is slightly elevated. Your muscles are faintly tense. Your mind keeps circling back to something, a message you haven't answered, an argument that never got resolved, a bill sitting unpaid on the counter. Nothing is actually attacking you. There is no danger in the room. And yet, your body is behaving exactly as if there were. For 300,000 years, that same alarm system only had one job: keep you alive for the next 10 minutes. It was built to detect a lion in the grass, not a conversation you've been avoiding. It was built to fire once, hard, and then shut off. So what did our ancestors actually spend their fear on? And why does the system built for saber-toothed cats now spend its entire day going off for things you can't even point to? Let's start with what fear actually looked like for most of human history. In 1994, primatologist Robert Sapolsky began studying stress in wild baboons in the Serengeti, and later summarized something remarkably simple. For a zebra, a lion is a catastrophe for about 30 seconds. Either the zebra escapes or it doesn't. Either way, the event ends. The zebra's stress hormones spike violently, and then, minutes later, they're back on the grass, grazing, as if nothing happened. This is how fear worked for early humans, too. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, the Hadza, the Juhwansi, the Ache, have documented that acute danger was frequent, but brutally short. A rustle in the bush, a shadow that moved wrong. The system fires, pupils dilate, blood rushes to the muscles, digestion shuts down, cortisol and adrenaline flood the bloodstream. You either run, fight, or freeze. Within minutes, it's resolved. You're alive or you're not. There is no in-between where the fear just continues. This is the system Walter Cannon first described in 1915 and called fight or flight. It's ancient, it's fast, and it was never designed to be sustained. It was designed to be a spike, not a plateau. And that's the part almost nobody talks about. Our ancestors were afraid constantly, but never afraid for long. The lion either found you or it didn't. The storm either passed or it didn't. The fear had an ending baked into it.
Please subscribe to the channel and like this video.
Now compare that to an argument that never got resolved. It doesn't rustle in the grass once and disappear. It sits in the back of your mind for 11 days. Every time you see that person, every time their name comes up, every time you just remember it happened, your body fires the same ancient alarm, the same cortisol, the same elevated heart rate. Except this time, there's no lion to outrun and no moment where it's over. The tension just stays. In 1936, endocrinologist Selye described what happens when a stress response doesn't get to switch off. He called it general adaptation syndrome. The body moves from alarm into a prolonged resistance phase where it keeps producing stress hormones far longer than it was built to, and eventually into exhaustion. Selye's rats, kept under constant low-grade stress instead of one sharp threat, didn't die from a single crisis. They developed ulcers. Their adrenal glands enlarged. Their immune systems collapsed. The damage came not from danger itself, but from danger that never resolved. This is the mismatch. Your amygdala, the ancient alarm center in your brain, cannot tell the difference between a predator and an unanswered text. It only knows, threat detected, activate the system. It has no separate setting for mild, ongoing tension with someone you care about. It has one lever, and modern life pulls it dozens of times a day. Researchers studying cortisol patterns in modern adults have found something our ancestors never experienced: stress hormones that never fully return to baseline, day after day, for years. Not a spike, a plateau. the exact opposite of how the system was designed to run. Here's the part that rarely gets talked about. This plateau isn't just a feeling, it has a physical cost, and your body has been quietly paying it. A stress response that never fully switches off keeps your muscles in a low simmer of tension you don't even notice anymore. The tight jaw, the shoulders creeping up toward your ears, the shallow breathing that's become your new normal. Sleep researchers have found that unresolved tension is one of the most common reasons adults lie awake at night, because the body cannot fully rest while a threat, even an abstract one, is technically still active. Digestion slows for the same reason it did for our ancestors mid-chase, except now, instead of lasting 30 seconds, it can last for years, which is part of why chronic stress is so consistently linked to stomach problems, headaches, and a weakened immune system. None of this is a coincidence, and none of it is a personal failing. It's the same system, just never told to stand down. Here's what's counterintuitive. When anthropologists ask hunter-gatherer groups what they fear most, the answer is rarely the obvious one. Yes, predators mattered. Yes, starvation mattered. But researchers studying groups like the Juhuansi and the Hadza have consistently found that the deepest, most persistent fear wasn't a lion at all. It was exclusion. Being talked about behind your back. Losing your place in the group. Because in a world with no money, no police, no locks on doors, your survival depended entirely on your relationships. If the group stopped liking you, they could stop sharing food with you. That wasn't social discomfort, that was a death sentence. In 2003, neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran an experiment at UCLA that confirmed something remarkable. She had participants play a simple ball-tossing game inside a brain scanner, then secretly excluded them from it. The brain regions that lit up when people were left out, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, were the exact same regions that activate during physical pain. Social rejection isn't a metaphor for pain. To your nervous system, it is pain, using the same ancient circuitry built for physical injury. This is why an unanswered message can feel like a physical ache, why being left out of a plan with friends can trigger the same alarm as a predator in the grass. Your brain inherited a single fear system built for a world where losing the group meant losing your life, and it never got the memo that most modern exclusion is temporary, survivable, and rarely fatal. Ancient humans feared the tribe's disapproval because it was existential. You still feel that exact fear today at the same intensity over a message left unread. So why hasn't 300,000 years of evolution just fixed this? Because evolution doesn't work on the timescale of light bulbs and phones. The threat detection system in your brain is roughly the same one your ancestors carried through the Ice Age. Agriculture is 10,000 years old. Cities are younger still. The smartphone, the always-on notification, the sheer density of other people's opinions of you, all of that arrived in the last blink of evolutionary time. There simply hasn't been enough time for natural selection to build you a new alarm system calibrated for chronic, low-grade, socially mediated stress. What you're left with is a Ferrari-fast danger detector wired for split-second physical threats, now running full-time on inputs it was never built to process. An unanswered message, a bill you keep meaning to deal with, a conversation you've been avoiding that exists only as a knot in your stomach. The system fires exactly the way it's supposed to. The problem isn't a malfunction. The problem is that the modern world manufactures thousands of tiny lions a day and never lets a single one of them actually end. This is likely a major piece of why anxiety, burnout, and stress-related illness have become so widespread in exactly the societies that face the least physical danger in human history. We built the safest environment our species has ever known, and then filled it with an unlimited supply of symbolic threats that our alarm system can't tell apart from real ones. So the next time your chest tightens before you open a message, or you feel your pulse rise before a difficult conversation, understand what's actually happening. That is not weakness. That is not a broken nervous system. That is 300,000 years of programming, built to save your life from something with teeth, now firing at full strength for something with no teeth at all. Your ancestors were afraid constantly of the dark, of hunger, of the tribe's disapproval, but their fear always had an ending, a resolution, a moment where the body could stand down. What we've built instead is a world of threats that never fully resolve, that live permanently on a screen in your pocket, buzzing quietly all day, every day. You were not designed to be calm all the time. You were designed to be terrified for 30 seconds and then completely at peace for the rest of the day. Somewhere along the way, we kept the terror and lost the peace. Maybe the goal was never to eliminate fear. Maybe it's just to remember that not every alarm is a lion, and that some of them you're allowed to let go.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like this video.